Oh no, he didn't tell me to have no joke. You know I ain't no jokester and stuff, man. I get accused of being too serious.
Well, I usually have an extra one, but I'm gonna let you off the hook this time.
All right.
Because
if I start telling jokes and stuff, people are thinking stuff. This ain't the Mary Gulley that I know and stuff.
that's the whole thing. I need to be able to get something out of them they can't. That other folk can't.
All right, then. If I start laughing and joking, you would have done that.
That's all right. Well, we know the task in front of us as far as that's concerned. Can I get a test 1, 2, 3 from you?
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing
right.
1, 2, 3.
That's perfect. Just be thinking about this right quick, and that is a soapbox issue, a pet peeve, you know, one of them things you want to get off your chest, you know, the guys walking around sagging pants, you know. Give me what's one of those pet peeves of the man?
Well, you know, look, that ain't gonna be hard, and so when it comes up to that, and so with me, because everybody that knows me know that my pet peeve and stuff is cleanliness and litter.
Okay.
And so, you know, that's my major and stuff problem, and stuff that, you know, we were one of the first cities and stuff to pay people just and stuff for litter crews. We got litter crews out there that their job is just to pick up litter. Yeah. Well, you know, that's money that could be reallocated somewhere else. That's people and stuff that could go and stuff and have jobs and stuff somewhere else within the city. But man, when you paying people and stuff just to pick up trash and litter behind and stuff, people that are just throwing it out of the window, that's my ultimate pet peeve there, brother.
Okay. Well, we're going to separate that into a little clip in and of itself.
All right.
and play that bad boy over and over again, because it just seems to me like municipalities throughout this metropolitan area suffer the same things, and it makes you wonder, you know, how were these kids raised, and adults too at that point?
Well, you know, I can give you a true life situation, man. My mother was up here visiting me, and I was coming in stuff from the Galleria, coming from Hoover. She and I was riding from Hoover, and so someone waited until they got us up to the welcome to the city of BESSEMER and the sign, and then start throwing McDonald's bags and stuff out of the window. So, you know, I took the license plate, you know, I called it in and stuff to have my chief and police officers waiting and stuff. When they got there, they went to the courthouse, found out and stuff the individual and stuff was a resident of the city of BESSEMER. So now, why would you dump on your own city?
Yeah.
And stuff, you know, you done saved the trash and stuff that you done got picked up and got something to eat and stuff in Hoover. You didn't dump it and stuff on Hoover, but you turn around and stuff and wait till you get in your own city and you start throwing the trash out the window. And that was embarrassing to me because, you know, I had my mother visited and stuff, and I'm just seeing somebody just throwing trash out of the window as soon as they get in stuff into the city of BESSEMER. So, man, that's been a pet peeve of mine for a long time when it comes to that, because that's an unnecessary expenditure.
You just brought up your mom, so that's a perfect place to reset our conversation to, and that is what's not in your bio, right? I would love to know about mom and them. Do you have siblings? What church did you grow up in? Did you play in the band? You know, like, tell me about, because, you know, we met as grown men. You know, I don't really know much about you, and I would love to know your story. You know what I mean?
Wow, okay. Well, you know, it is, you know, I tell people and stuff this, a lot of times, and so if people knew my story, and so they wouldn't do some of the things and stuff that they do, because they would know and stuff that it's hard to rattle me. It's hard and stuff to shake me, because a lot of stuff of the situations that I've had and stuff in my life, help mold me into the person and stuff that I am.
Yes, sir.
I got a strong faith and stuff in God. I've always had and stuff to depend on Him and stuff, because there were times in my life when I didn't have and stuff others and stuff to depend on. I had nobody else to depend on but Him.
Yes, sir.
So my life story has been in stuff very, very interesting to get me to this particular point, but it's hard and stuff to. You're probably not going to rattle me. You're not going to intimidate me, and so I'm not going to let you and so insult me. Not going to let you demean me or disrespect me, because I've dealt with too much over and so the scope of my life, and I don't have to accept that. I tell people and stuff in a lot of instances. People love and stuff to make comments and stuff that hey, the citizens pay your salary and stuff like that. And they do, and you accept that, but that still don't give you a carte blanche and stuff to talk to me and treat me any kind of way. Because before I was a mayor, I was still a man.
Yeah.
And so what I like to tell and stuff people and stuff that what you give and stuff is what you get. If you want me and stuff to respect you, I'm gonna give you the utmost respect, because I will never and stuff give away my integrity and stuff for a job.
Yes, sir. Yes,
so
sir.
Grew up in a little small town nobody's ever heard of, called Forkland, Alabama, population 600.
Forkland?
Yes.
Now I didn't heard of a whole bunch of places. You right. I ain't never heard of Forkland.
Forkland, Alabama, born and raised. Father and stuff was a Baptist minister. Grandfather was a Baptist minister. Okay. And I can recall and stuff growing up in Forkland. We wasn't exposed to a lot of things. Small city USA. It reminds you of Mayberry. To this day, it still don't have a traffic light.
Wow. Where is it geographically?
Well, it's southwest and stuff of Tuscaloosa.
Okay.
It's right there on Highway 43, in between Demopolis, Utah, and Demopolis.
Okay. Okay.
So if you've heard of Utah,
I've heard of Utah and Demopolis.
Okay. Well, if you're traveling and stuff from Utah going to Demopolis on Highway and stuff 43, it's a little small town called Forkland right there in the center of Utah and Demopolis.
Wow. Now, did you have siblings?
I do have siblings. There were 7 of us. I have one deceased brother. I have 3 sisters and 2 other brothers. And so yeah.
Now, where did you fall in the 7?
I'm in the middle.
Dead center, huh?
I'm dead center, in the middle.
Okay.
And so I have an older brother and an older sister. Then I got a younger brother and 2 younger sisters.
Okay. Yeah. And matriculating through school, were you the athlete? Were you the artist? Were you in the band? What was your thing in grade school, middle school, and high school?
Well, I was always a regimented type and stuff person.
Okay.
So I was in the ROTC.
Okay. And I was in the ROTC at Ramsey.
And at that time, so I thought I wanted a military career. I was very, very active in ROTC. I wanted and stuff to play sports. My brothers and I was good in sports, and stuff, but my father and stuff, strict disciplinarian. He didn't believe in stuff in sports and allowing us to play sports. I can recall, back there then we used to have PE at class,
right?
At school. I don't even know if we have it and stuff then. I mean now, but we had it then, and my brother and I and stuff were good at basketball and good at football. The coach came home to ask my daddy, to ask my daddy if could but he'd allow us to play sports.
Mm-hmm.
And then my father asked if I allowed them to play sports, and who gonna do their chores and stuff in the evening. he said, Coach, I tell you, I make a deal with you. If you come and do their chores, then I allow them to play sports. But that was the end of that conversation. So didn't get an opportunity and stuff to play a lot of sports. You know, played a lot of sandlot on Saturdays and stuff with, and stuff. A lot of the guys that did play sports, a lot of my friends and stuff played sports, but I didn't get that opportunity. So
now let me ask you a quick question. And I'm gonna hold my thought because I don't want to delay it too long. But what do you think has happened to young people thinking about going to the military and participating in the ROTC? That's such a viable career path. It just seems like we're not talking about that anymore.
Well, you know, I think a lot of that is because and stuff of the state of our nation. And so, unfortunately, you know, I've always had the utmost of respect for those and so who chose and stuff to serve. I've had and so family members and so who have served, and you know, I was so involved in ROTC that if someone had told me back there then and so that the military would not have been a path and so that I would have chosen for my life. Sergeant Major White, I can remember him. He was shocked and stuff when I didn't go into the military. That was one of my instructors in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, but unlike back there then, don't get me wrong, it's still a prestigious profession.
Sure.
But you know, I think that the decisions that are being made now, and so by politicians who have never served, decisions that are made, and so by other individuals, and so that are making those decisions for those brave individuals who have to go, you know, have to fight at home and abroad. That there is a lot of pushback from people now, unfortunately, because they have a lack of respect for those that are making those decisions. If I'm going, as many of our brave young men, young women, and young boys and young girls do, if I'm going to risk my life, and so for my country, I want the decision maker who's sending me and stuff on the front lines and stuff to be the type of person that I can respect, that's making the right decisions and making those decisions for the betterment and stuff of this country.
That's a word right there.
That's
a word right there. Now, what high school did you go to? And tell me about your matriculation through high school. I know you was a ladies' man.
Well, just the opposite. Unfortunately, just the opposite. I graduated from Paramount High School in Bowley, Alabama, class of 1986.
I've heard of Bowley.
Yeah. And you know, I was always a little quiet, shy guy in high school, and unfortunately, never really had a girlfriend and stuff in high school. So quiet, shy guy. You know, didn't do a lot and stuff of the hanging out and stuff and partying and things that a lot of my friends were able to do, because as I say, they for one, my dad was a disciplinarian.
That's
so,
what I was about to
so,
say.
so I
Sounds
could,
like your dad didn't play the radio.
I couldn't stay out. You know, I couldn't stay out to this day. You know, I don't know how to dance and stuff because in his house you couldn't dance. I don't know how to play cards because in his house you didn't play cards. And
I'm starting to get a recurring message there.
But you know, you know, by him being my father pastored for about 60 years before his death and stuff down there, and he was always a strong disciplinarian. He's always been proud of the fact that, you know, hey, never and stuff had a never had to bail one of my children and stuff out of jail.
Right.
You know, none of my daughters got pregnant in high school, so he felt like he was a great success.
Just so that like he was.
But didn't get an opportunity and stuff to hang out and do much and stuff in high school. As I say that being afraid of girls, some of that and stuff was my fault. But I caught up and blossomed when I got to Alabama A&M.
Be healed. I want to. If finally we are there, I want to hear about your matriculation in normal Alabama.
Well, you know, growing up and stuff in Forkland, we didn't have a lot, you know. But one thing that I will say, my parents raised us, you know, to be good moral people with good values. I can recall, you know, my dad and stuff saying that we grew most of our vegetables, and we had fields and stuff down there. We worked in the field and stuff when we were growing up.
Yeah.
And stuff. So, you know, my parents basically bought meat, but, you know, we raised all of the rest of the field, of the food that we ate in the field. You know, potatoes. So
when you say you had chores, you had real chores.
We had real chores, you know. But a lot of people, even looking at my age, you know, I'm 56 years old, you know, when we look at the fact that down in the country, man, we probably didn't have running water and stuff until I was 8 to 10 years old. Wow. And you know, a lot of folks don't know what an outhouse is, but we had that. And so we grew up with that until I was 8 to 10 years old.
Yeah.
And so, you know, hard work is nothing in stuff that I'm a stranger to, because we grew up.
New to you.
We grew up working in stuff hard, working in stuff in the you know, people call it the garden now, but it was a field back there then.
Yeah.
As of, you know, I tell a story all the time. I have people laughing because you know, my dad and stuff used to break the field up, and he and stuff when we get ready and stuff to plant and stuff the seeds and vegetables and stuff every year, he would break the field up. He would have one of the local farmers bring the tractor out and stuff and break up the ground.
Right.
And then
so y'all didn't have to have an ox and all that.
Well, but then he would say, once you break the ground up, you have to make the rows and stuff. So he said, you know, Red, for $10 more, you know, I can change the contraction on the back of the tractor and make your rows and stuff for you. But my dad and stuff pointed at us and told him and stuff, said, no, that's okay. There go my row makers right there. So, you know, as I said, we were no stranger to hard work and stuff, but, you know, looking back in retrospect, I value the way that I was and stuff reared.
Yeah.
Because it made me who I am. I'm not afraid and stuff of hard work. I've never been afraid and stuff of hard work. I can recall going away to college, and so my father shook my hand and said, I don't have any money to give you, but I'm giving you a good name. Keep it that way. So when I left home, you know, at 17 years old, 2 weeks shy of my 18th birthday, you know, I was a grown man. You know, because there was no need.
You was on your own.
You was on your own. There was no need and stuff to call him back to the house and stuff to look for any money or get any money, because I knew there wasn't no money there when I left.
Yeah.
And so you know, I did, and so I decided to go to Alabama A&M, and so we were on our own. I worked most of the time that I was there.
Sounds to
So
me like you took your
two
education
jobs.
serious.
I worked 2 jobs.
Wow.
And attended and sub classes, and I'm proud and stuff of the way that I was able to maneuver myself through. So Alabama A&M.
Once you finished Alabama A&M, what was that? What was right after school like, and being a young man, and what stands out, particularly professionally?
Well, one thing that I will say that unfortunately we don't see a lot of people doing, and so now in this day and time, is paying your dues. When I got out of college, I'm like so many young people. I thought that everybody was going to be knocking down my doors to give me a job.
Yeah.
Well, that does not happen. You have to pay your dues and do a whole lot of jobs that you don't either like to do or want to do. As you slowly come up the ranks in finding and so what God has and stuff for you.
Yeah.
I worked retail right after I graduated high school. I graduated from college. Western Hills Mall ends up Central Plaza Mall.
Yeah.
Ends up is where I worked and stuff. A lot of retail. I worked from Kenny Shoes. Ends up growing up. A lot of folks might not remember Kenny Shoes.
Me and my mom was probably in one of your stores.
and right there in Western Hills Mall, I went into the training program, and I went over to Central Plaza Mall. At that time, I thought I wanted to own or run my own my Kenny shoe store.
Right.
But that didn't work out. So I ended up working right out of college and stuff for Yieldings.
Okay.
Women's clothing.
I know we knew you. I bet if I went to my mom and said, Ken Gulley from Yieldings.
Yeah. Well, and I can think of some people and stuff that were very, very good mentors and very good individuals. Mr. Garvin Thomas and stuff was the only other gentleman in the store that worked with me. Miss Gloria Chancey, and she was kind of the mother of the entire store. And when you're looking back in retrospect, I'm just appreciative to all those people and so who helped mold me into the person that I am today.
Now, what pulled you into politics and working for city government? When did that come along, and how?
Well, I wanted to do something other than retail. How I think it's important for people to know their strengths and their weaknesses. I enjoyed retail, but retail was not my strength. As hard as I worked, I can recall a friend of mine at the time. At the end of the day, when we ran the totals, he always outsold me because he was a good salesman.
Right.
I worked as hard as I could. I was a decent salesman, but I wasn't a good salesman.
Right.
And at
that
that time, I didn't recognize and stuff that was very frustrating and stuff, because no matter how good my day was, I could look at the guy next to me, and so his name was Chris, and Chris pulled his totals, and he always and so had some higher numbers than I did, and so I started back then before social media and all those good things. You just showed up and you had people and stuff a paper resume, and stuff. So I went to a lot of corporations. I went and stuff to a lot of mayor's offices, dropped off a resume. I think at that time, Mayor Arrington may have been in Birmingham. Uh, Mayor Larry Langford was in Fairfield. Mayor Quitman Mitchell was here and stuff in Bessemer.
Right.
So, I dropped off a resume and to all of those and stuff, gentlemen. But my wife was native Bessemer, and her family ends up as native Bessemer.
Okay.
And so I got a call back after I dropped the resume off from Mayor Quitman Mitchell, and he asked me to come in and talk to him, and that got the wheels rolling and stuff there.
Yeah.
So he and my father-in-law were very, very close. So that helped the situation and stuff as well. But we actually had conversations, and the conversations were good. And and we kind of he asked me to come in for for an interview. We came in for an interview. Came in for a second interview, and we moved forward and stuff from there. And like I tell young people, I guess I'm what is considered a square to a lot of some of young people, because I try and teach young people, and I try to, just like I taught my own children, that all of us gonna make mistakes. All of us gonna do some things that we're not proud of, and so, but try not to make life-altering mistakes.
That's right.
And the reason that I mention that is, after my second interview, and so with Mayor Mitchell, he said that you got the job if you can pass the drug test.
Oh.
Well, I jumped up, 27 years old, young man. I started cheering and stuff. He said, "Oh, wait a minute, young man." I said, "You got the job if you can pass the drug test." And I said,
"No problem."
I said, "Well then, Mayor Mitchell, I got the job then, because if the only thing that keeping me from getting this job is passing a drug test, then it's upset. Hey, I got the job." So you think about it. One, I've never. I'm one. When I say square, I'm really square.
Well, for real.
because I've never tried marijuana.
Yeah.
And so I didn't have to worry and stuff about anything like that. But I tell young people that, had I been one of those people, can you think about, if I could not pass the drug test, how that would have altered the course of my life?
Would have altered the course of a lot of lives.
Because being able to be hired here in the city of Bessemer, I worked here as the mayor's chief of staff for 7 years. Those 7 years shaped me and molded me into the person that I am. Now, when I left, I never dreamed that I was coming back to the city as the mayor. But all of that knowledge that I gained when I worked for Mayor Mitchell for 7 years, I was able to utilize it. But not only was I able to utilize it, I needed every bit of it when I walked through the door. So I didn't come back, and I really don't understand how people do it that has never been exposed to politics, because you have to pull from the history of your life to make you good at anything that you do. I'm good. I'm a good finance person because of my financial background, and so. But I was a good politician because during the 7 years that I worked in politics, I learned what to do and I learned what not to do.
That's right.
And so all of those things, every bit of those things, and so mold me into the person that I am. And I see right now me pulling from not only college and all of the retail places and stuff that I've worked, But I also see myself pulling stuff too from that little young boy in Forkland, Alabama, that knows and stuff that, hey, my work ethic is second to none. Like I told and stuff people, because of the way I was reared and the way I was brought up, and I'm no stranger to hard work. So you might beat me, but you'll never outwork me.
Now, tell me about, there was your matriculation through City Hall up to chief staff. You said you left. I always kind of assumed you ran after that. How did that come about?
Well, at that time, just like most young people, and let me tell you. Let me tell you a story and stuff here.
Okay.
And I tell people when you're talking and stuff to the Lord, you have to be specific about what you ask for.
Right.
And so I can recall when I was working at Yieldings. I had graduated from college and didn't particularly like retail and stuff. So I used to see people that I knew and I graduated with from A&M, and looking back in retrospect, it didn't make any sense. But I was ashamed of the fact that I was doing retail, having graduated and stuff from A&M. So so when people that I knew would come in, I would find an excuse to go to the back until they leave.
Mm-hmm.
So I can remember praying and stuff and asking God, give me a job, give me a position that I can be proud of. Okay, so when I got to be the mayor chief of staff, I got my business cards and stuff, Kenneth Gulley and stuff, mayor's assistant and stuff, and chief of staff and all that's a job that I could be proud of. And so, but I took a $2,000 cut from Yieldings to take this job as the mayor's assistant. So I said, okay, well, the money wasn't as important. I felt like, hey, I'll make the money back in the course of several years working.
Yeah.
And so, but I was just such a stickler on. I wanted a job that I could be proud of.
That's
right.
Well,
right. I was young, wanted to wear a suit every day. And so want to portray as a businessman and stuff, but but just like in most situations, in a lot of situations, I was never able to. I didn't make a lot of money in the job as the mayor's assistant.
Right.
And so when I did decide and stuff to leave, I think Lawson State. I left going to Lawson State. And Lawson State offered me about $10,000 and something more than what I was making and stuff at that time.
Which is significant,
right? We're talking 2002 and stuff here and stuff. So I think I may have been making with the city about $35,000, $36,000 a year. Lawson State offered me $45,000, $46,000 a year, and I was saying, "Hey, look, I'm following the money." So
they had a card. It's time to
get
right.
but so about around that time, I pray again. Say, well, God, look, I don't care about putting on no suit. I don't care about his no card. I just need the money. Give me a job and stuff that I can make a little bit more money than what I'm making. And got that at Lawson. Worked hard at Lawson and stuff, but that helped upgrade my family and stuff a lot, because when we started out at that amount, obviously. Being employed with the state at that time, you were going to get step raises,
right?
And and I stayed there and I worked with Lawson for 8 years.
Okay.
And met some very good people out at Lawson. Still hold Lawson pretty dear to my heart and stuff, because I did have I had a good time and stuff out at Lawson.
Yeah.
I look at Dr. Perry Ward and Vice President Sharon Cruz were my supervisors out there at the time, and I still hold them in high regard.
But finally, it was time to come back.
Well, after 8 years at Lawson, I got to a particular point where a lot of us do. I spent 8 years at Lawson. I went to Lawson at 34 and left at 42. And you get to a particular point where you want to do something different. My personality had always been, all of my life, I was a challenge seeker. So I was always looking for the next challenge. Okay, after I felt like I had conquered this challenge, what's the next challenge, in your life? So, I can recall when I first got, to Lawson, I was coordinator of auxiliary services, which entailed being over the bookstore, being over vending, being over the cafeteria, those things that made money.
Right.
And I can recall after my first year, the bookstore and all that, they were in a deficit at that particular time. After my first year, I think we had 800,000 in the black. Then and so we went up and up to $1 million and stuff in the black. So we kept on. I tell people just like it. So now, I manage other people's businesses and other people's money like it's my own. And so I've never been wasteful. I've never been a person that is going to do anything with your dollars, your tax dollars, that I wouldn't do with my own personal dollars. So I was very, very proud of what I was able to accomplish at Lawson State as well. But then you start getting to a particular point where you get bored doing a certain thing, same things. Is this what you want to continue to do for the rest of your life? And it was not. So after I've conquered that challenge in my life, now I'm looking for what's the next challenge, and so here. So I never truly left the political scene in Bessemer, because I stayed affiliated with the Bessemer Area Chamber of Commerce. I served as the first black president of the member of the board and president of the board of the Bessemer Area Chamber of Commerce. Then, as some of you know, I served on the zoning board. I served with the Red Cross here in Bessemer. I served with the Bessemer Centennial Main Street as president. So I stayed so active in the city of Bessemer that it was almost in the community. Yeah. It was almost as if, I never left. Yeah. So, everybody knew. Everybody knew Ken Gulley. Everybody knew Kenneth Gulley. And, I decided to run for mayor. I woke up one morning and I told my wife, I said, I prayed about it. I'm going to run for mayor. And she said, what? Where did that come from? I said, I'm one of those people that have always been like this, Ira, that you can complain about it or you can do something about it. There you go. So I was very, at that time, displeased with the leadership in the mayor's office of the city of Bessemer. So, I belabored and stuff the decision. I prayed about the decision. And I said that, if I can't win, at least I can challenge the leadership in Bessemer at that time. And, so I decided and stuff to run. because I had a love for the city, and I just did not like some of the things that were going on in government at that particular time. So we ran, and once again we pulled from the community. I pulled from a lot of people from Bessemer that had went to Lawson State, that knew me from Lawson State. I pulled from my wife's family. I pulled from the church. I pulled from my in-laws' church. And you'll be surprised at how many people, lives that you have touched, how many people that know you from the time that I come up here. I've been here. My wife and I met at A&M. I told you she was native Bessemer, so that's kind of how I got to Bessemer, Alabama.
Right.
But as a young man, I can recall I hung out in the clubs of Bessemer, and as a assistant to Mayor Mitchell, I always represented on behalf of the city and churches, and as a member of the chamber, I sit around the table and so with a lot of millionaires that dealt and so with the businesses in the city of Bessemer. So since I decided to run and so for mayor, I knew people from every walk of life, and to me, I say that's why I was able to do so well in 2010 when I decided to run for mayor. Never ran for a political office before, and we were able to win with 73% of the vote.
Now, what was that 13 years ago?
15.
15 years.
I'm in my fourth term.
Is a lot. A lot has happened in that 15 years. And we're going to get to why I'm here, which is to give a little summation of that state of the city. But I think I would be remiss if I didn't ask you, what are your proudest accomplishments over that 15 years?
Well, the finances of the city of Bessemer, as I spoke about my strength in finance, I'm very proud of, because I recognize that if you don't get the finances right, ain't nothing else going to be so right. Now, when I came, I was elected in 2010. I sat around the table with some of the people that were closest up to me, and we contemplated. We was at a point where we contemplated whether to file bankruptcy and start all over again.
Wow.
The city was about $25 million in debt. They owed the Bessemer Board of Education because ad valorem tax had not been sent to the Bessemer Board of Education. That was their money. We settled that lawsuit for $4.5 million and paid them $100,000 for 52 months, and $36,000 to that $4 million a month after that, into that million, and so was paid back to the school board. We owed everybody from local vendors. Walmart had the city on cash and carry at that time. You couldn't get parts and stuff for vehicles. You couldn't get parts from Napa, and you couldn't get parts. You had to go in and stuff with cash. They wouldn't. I mean, so when I look back in something in retrospect, people have to truly know where we've come from in order to appreciate where we are.
Yeah.
So when sitting around that table, when people were talking about filing bankruptcy, I said, no, I'm not gonna file bankruptcy, because I don't feel like that's what God put me here and stuff to do. Now God has put me here, and God is gonna show me how to get this city where it needs to be. When I was first sworn in, the city had about $19,000 in the general fund, and in 2 days, I had a payroll of about $750,000.
Unbelievable.
So you have to start looking at where can you legally pull money and stuff from. Okay, people at municipal court, I can pay them out of municipal and stuff court funds. You know, where can I pay these group of people from that is legal? So we went through all and stuff of that. So I'm proud now of where the financial strength and stuff of the city of Bessemer is. But if I had to quantify the thing that I'm most proud of, is something that has always eluded in stuff this city. Now I told you I'm from a small town, Forkland, but on each side of Demopolis is on one side of Forkland, Utah is on the other side. Both those places had a senior and youth recreation facility. And I could not believe that a city the size of Bessemer did not have a youth and senior recreation facility. Now, in the 7 years that I had served as an employee of Mayor Equipment Mitchell, I saw several attempts when he tried to build a recreation facility, and it wasn't so successful. You know, he didn't have a council that would work with him at that time and stuff to do that. And one way and stuff to kill a recreation facility, if you got 7 people saying, you know, I want it in my district, or let's build one in every district. Well, you know, if you ain't got one, you sure it's not going to be a 7. Right. So that's just a way of killing the project and killing the argument.
Right.
So I saw that several times during the times that I've been here in the city of Bessemer. And so, but I've always felt like that whatever a person do and what he don't do, get done and what he does not get done, is a matter of where his priorities lie. So when I came back after 8 years at Lawson State, it was 2 things that I looked at. One, the facility that city government was housed in. And I said, the city hall was in bad condition when I left, but I never imagined when I walked back in 8 years later, it would have deteriorated to the point that it had deteriorated. So it was 2 things. Okay, so I'm going to build a new city hall facility in Bessemer, but I'm not going to do it before I build a recreation facility for the seniors and youth of the city of Bessemer. So, getting back to the challenge seeker that I tell you that I am and I always and so was. 42 years old, young, aggressive. I said, well, I'll build them both. So we built this city hall and the rec center simultaneously. And I never do that again. Because, you know, anybody that's ever been a part of a building process of building facilities know that you got to wrestle with architects, you got to wrestle with construction managers, you got to wrestle with program managers, because if you don't, you want to make sure that you get what you're paying for.
Right.
You know, a lot of the times, if you build a $6.5 million city hall facility or $15 million recreation facility, at the end of the day, you have to remind people that, hey, my money is just as good on the western side of Jefferson County as it is on the eastern side of Jefferson County. So, you know, my personality is I want to make sure I'm using taxpayer dollars. I want to make sure that I'm building facilities that the taxpayers and so can be proud of, I never want them to feel like and so their tax dollars were wasted. And so you know, look, God don't change, and so people and stuff change. When it said welcome and stuff to the city of, all of it is God's earth. And so I've always been a stickler for making sure that the citizens of Bessemer got their money's worth. And sometimes that ain't easy, because when you're working and fussing and arguing and fighting and stuff with people, you want to make sure that the city is not being taken advantage of. So I'm proud of these two facilities that we built simultaneously. One thing that I've often and so said is that if you can look yourself in the mirror and be proud of what you've done and the legacy that you've left, then you've done a good job. That's all God wants from all of us, and so it's your best. So a lot of times when we get into these arguments and stuff with people, and people attack you based and stuff on certain things, you know, we're human. Yes, it affects you, but you brush it off like water and stuff off of a duck's back, and you keep on going, because you know, in the large scheme of things, you know what you've done. You know what you've done and what you've given of yourself to this city. And you know, and I'm proud of that. Nobody can ever take that. Nobody can ever take that away. You know, when I have two young granddaughters. When I'm dead and gone, my granddaughters and so can be proud of the legacy that their grandfather and so left here in the city of Bessemer. I'm proud and stuff of that. I'm proud and stuff of the job creation. We're a city of 27,000, a little over 27,000. When I look at this administration and I see over 10,000 jobs have been created in this city, I'm proud and stuff of that. Now, I can build it, but I can't make you work. That's what I tell people all of the time.
That's right.
You know, I'm proud that everybody that wants a job can get a job. Everybody that wants a job can get a job. I can recall, and so when I first got out of college, we talked about that a little bit. If I could have walked down to Amazon and got a job somewhere making $22 an hour, half the problems that me and my wife argued about in the day would have evaporated. But you know, the opportunities that are available, and so to our young people now, you know, are astronomical. I hate to see them not take advantage of those opportunities. I look at a company, I mentioned Amazon. If you can go down to $22 an hour, if you work at Amazon, you know, they pay for they pay for your education.
Yeah.
And after they pay for that education, you don't even have to come back to Amazon.
Right.
So take advantage of that. We got the high school right there. You could walk right across the parking lot and be at Amazon and go to work $22 an hour.
Yeah.
But now you probably got to work hard. That goes back to that work ethic.
That's right.
If you got the work ethic and you want something out of life, once again, you know, you get out of it what you put into it. And you know, that's a lot of what I want to instill and I want to see in our young people. I want you to take advantage of the opportunities. You're not going to always be young. Yeah. You know, you got to start building. You got to start building toward and some things. A lot of several times I see young people now, you know, they right now. It's a microwave society.
Yeah.
They want it right now. Well, you know, a lot of opportunities don't happen right now. You got to prepare yourself to take advantage of the opportunity when the opportunity presents itself. And you know, the microwave society, we just want it now. You know, I met a young lady that didn't even want a job unless she could work from home now. Ain't
that something?
But you know, it's the times in which we live. That's why it's so refreshing to me when I see a young man or a young lady that is willing and so to put the work in. You're willing and so to say, because everybody can look at you and I, and they can look at all of us and and think, well, Mayor Gulley has been the mayor and so for 4 terms, or Mayor Gulley has done this, and Mayor Gulley has done that, or Ivor has done this. But what they fail is to realize that we just didn't wake up one morning and say that we're here. You got to live your life. A lot of dues were paid, and you got to live your life in a way that when that opportunity presents itself, that you're able to take advantage of it.
Well, just be sure I get an invitation when they put your name on that on that recreation center.
Look, I don't even know what. Look. I don't even know who proposed that, but I'm humbled and so by that. I had to take some time off because I had some medical issues, and I was out for about 4 weeks. And when I was out for about 4 weeks, that came up, and I've always been one of those individuals that listen. I got so many more issues and so much more things to fight about. The last thing in the world that I want to fight about is putting my name on a building because, number one, I know what I've done. God knows what I've done here and stuff in this city. So I really and stuff don't. I really don't want to start a fight or argument with someone concerning and something and stuff of that nature. But now, Ivor, I will say this: the more and more I thought about it, I said, if somebody thought enough of me, then for me and stuff to say no, then I'm really doing an injustice not only and stuff to that person, but to myself and those 2 little young granddaughters that I told you about earlier, because I have paid my dues in this city. I'm proud of what I've done. I'm proud of the legacy and stuff that that I will leave here in this city. And my name don't have to be on a building in order for me to be proud of what I know and stuff I have done. But if somebody and stuff thought enough of me to propose that, I want to thank them, whoever it was, because if you thought enough of me and stuff to propose that to the city council, that means a lot to me.
And with that being said, what is the state of Bessemer right now?
Well, I'm proud that we are financially and fiscal strong.
What's your budget? What's your budget size now?
You don't hear anybody walking around telling you that Bessemer owed them nothing.
Never.
Well, it wasn't always like that, but under the Gulley administration,
correct.
Under the Gulley administration, nobody can tell you that Bessemer owes them anything. When we took office in 2010, our budget was $35 million. Our budget today is $75 million.
Amen.
So in 15 years, as you see, that budget has more than doubled under this administration. As a matter of fact, Bessemer had a city clerk and treasurer when I was first elected. But once, according to the Jefferson County Personnel Board, that your budget exceeds a certain amount, then you have to break those positions apart. So today, we got a finance director and we got a city clerk and treasurer. We got a city clerk. We got a finance director and a city clerk because our budget grew so much that those jobs had to be separated and given to 2 people.
Right.
And so Bessemer is continuously growing. Bessemer and stuff is strong. We've always punched above our weight and so here in the city of Bessemer. I'm so proud and stuff of a city that's so self-sustaining as Bessemer. If you look at all of the things that Bessemer has that you don't see in other cities, in a lot of cities throughout the United States. You know, you got your own courthouse, you got your own water system, you got your own electric company, you got your own golf course. Up until here recently, it's just a little bit outside the city limits on exit 1, but you had your own hospital as well. So all those things and stuff that you don't see in a lot of cities, you know, Bessemer has it all. So, you know, that's why I'm always preaching to our employees and our citizens. Be proud of Bessemer. Be proud of what you see and have in your city, because a lot of cities don't have that, you know. And so when you're having water rations in certain places, you don't have that in the city. You don't have that in the city of Bessemer. You know, you have all the amenities. You got your own golf course in the city of Bessemer. You know, you have all the amenities right here in Bessemer in a lot of cities throughout the United States, regardless of size, do not have.
That's wonderful.
I mean, it is. And you know, and you're proud on this western side of Jefferson County. You see Bessemer. You don't see Bessemer struggling. You don't see Bessemer owing anybody money. You see a strong city, a
and
strong municipality here in the city of Bessemer. I've always said this, and I will continue to say this, that Bessemer is a great place to work, a great place to live and have fun.
There you go. Mayor, you got any shout outs?
Well, you know, obviously, you know, I always have shout outs, you know, to, you know, my family, you know, obviously my wife Yvonne, who, you know, has been my campaign manager 3 of my 4 terms and stuff here. You know, I have 2 children, Devon and Kayla, 2 grandchildren. You know, my son has 2 daughters, and you know that I'm very proud of, Kenley and Carson. And you know, if I got into shout outs, I could probably be going all day. But I am proud of this city. I'm proud of the citizens of this city, and I'm proud and stuff that they have given me the opportunity and stuff to serve the citizens of this city. You know, coming from where I come from, Forkland, Alabama, population 600. When you have exceeded any expectations that you had, you know it's nothing and stuff but God. So I thank God and the citizens of this city for entrusting in me the opportunity to have led this city for 15 years. And I have to tell you, you know this, most and sometimes, and so we as African Americans don't get an opportunity and so to serve anywhere for 4 terms. You know, people just don't go to the polls and vote for you 4 times.
You ain't playing.
So
you and Walt Maddox is some rare.
but you know, a lot of times when they get into, we know when it comes to you know the first blacks and you know like Mary Richard Arrington and stuff, those trailblazers like Quitman Mitchell, that here in Bessemer, that those trailblazers, you know, people, you know, have a tendency to go to the polls and vote and stuff for them, and so because of, you know, not only the body of work, but they are grateful to them for what they've done. Obviously, giving all of us opportunity and stuff to serve. They cleared the path and stuff for us and stuff to get this opportunity. But when you know, when you're able and stuff to go and you see the citizens renew your contract and so 4 times, because in essence that's what it is. And so it's a renewal of your contract every 4 years. people tell you so every 4 years whether they think that you've done and so a good enough job and so to keep your job here as mayor. And I never and so lose sight of that. I never take that and so for granted. And so I'm thankful for the opportunity to serve. It ain't always easy. It ain't always pretty, but and so it is and so what it is.